Welcome to Reinventing Broadcast, where AI meets content. Hosted by Ben Anker. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to Broadcast Media, the Inside Track. I'm Ben, and I'm here with my AI co-host, DAIvid.
Thanks, Ben. Today we're exploring a fascinating decade-long evolution in broadcast standards, from vendor-driven protocols to genuinely collaborative, open-source initiatives. It's a story that reveals how our industry is fundamentally changing its approach to innovation.
Exactly. We're tracing this journey from Evertz's ASPEN protocol in 2015, which I was researching during my Broadcast in the Cloud professional year, right through to the Cloud Native Agile Production project that launched at IBC 2024, evolved at NAB 2025, and has exciting plans for IBC 2025. And DAIvid, this isn't just about technology.
Right, it's about a philosophical shift from proprietary gatekeeping to radical openness. The implications for broadcasters, consultants, and the entire media ecosystem are profound.
Let me set the scene. 2015, Amsterdam, IBC. Evertz announced strong industry support for their ASPEN protocol. I was deep into investigating cloud-based broadcast workflows, and ASPEN caught my attention because it represented the traditional model, but executed brilliantly.
The collaboration was impressive. Abacus, Cryer & Higo, Discovery Communications, Game Creek Video, NEP Group, Sony, and many others. But this was still the old playbook. Vendor creates solution, partners validate, and standards body ratifies.
So ASPEN was submitted to SMPTE as Registered Disclosure Document RDD 37. It solved real problems, encapsulating uncompressed Ultra HD over MPEG-2 transport streams, enabling IP-centric facilities while leveraging proven standards. But the governance model was traditional, controlled, committee-driven, vendor-centric.
Which makes what happened next so remarkable. Fast forward to 2023, and BBC Research and Development were about to turn this entire model upside down.
I got my first real exposure to this at IBC 2024. The Cloud Native Agile Production demonstration wasn't like typical vendor pitches. This felt different, genuinely collaborative, almost radical in its openness.
At the heart of CNAP lies TAMS, Time Addressable Media Store. But the revolutionary aspect isn't just technical, is it?
Not at all. Sam from the BBC explained it perfectly at the Cloud Native Media Networking event. TAMS describes your media as a series of flows with a timeline linked to short segments on a cloud object store like S3. But then he said something unprecedented. As Sam said, they recognized they couldn't be the benevolent dictator forever and needed a sustainable solution.
That's the philosophical shift. Instead of vendor-driven development followed by industry adoption, we're seeing public service broadcasters create open frameworks and immediately hand them to the community. It's almost the opposite of the ASPEN model.
The BBC's approach was different. They open-sourced TAMS from the start.
The collaboration that emerged around CNAP is extraordinary. AWS, BBC, Sky, Adobe, Cutting Room, Drastic Technologies, TechX, VizRT, all working together on an open-source implementation.
The timeline was ambitious. Build the framework, enlist partners by April 2024, and then demo at IBC 2024. But they pulled it off. The IBC demonstration provided an end-to-end workflow from ingest through editing to gallery playback.
And the cost implications are staggering. Chris from AWS said, running a CNAP workflow for 3 months cost the same as incumbent solutions for just 1 week.
That's not just technical elegance, that's democratization. Suddenly, broadcast quality workflows become accessible to organizations that could never afford traditional infrastructure. It's transformative.
The technical architecture is clever too. CNAP uses chunked media storage with S3, enabling store once, use many approaches. Simple edits become metadata operations rather than new file exports.
Which brings us to the evolution at NAB 2025. AWS launched new guidance and tools with new collaborators like Matrox Video, integrating their Origin framework. But here's what's fascinating. They're hosting TAMS workshop events in London and New York.
That's not traditional vendor marketing. That's community building. Standards emerging from genuine operational needs, developed in public, governed by communities rather than committees.
The Cloud Native Media Networking event in July provided incredible insights into this philosophical transformation. Bruce, Mr. MXF, from the standards community made a crucial point. Legally, an open standard is one for which there is no subjective barrier to helping make the standard.
But he also highlighted something profound about enforcement. There are no standards police. Whether it's ISO or SMPTE or DPP, there is no armed police force that will come around and shoot you if you don't follow those standards.
That's liberating, but also challenging. Standards become less about rigid enforcement and more about enabling innovation. As the panel discussed, the stuff that we move around needs to be really tightly constrained, because if it's constrained, then more people can get at the same stuff.
It's about interoperability through voluntary adoption rather than mandated compliance. The best standards succeed because they're genuinely useful, not because they're officially sanctioned.
And the industry is responding. The EBU has joined the Streaming Video Technology Alliance. DVB signed a formal liaison agreement with SVTA. Traditional standards bodies are collaborating with newer, more agile organizations.
Now, looking ahead to IBC 2025, AWS has announced something remarkable. They'll showcase for the first time a forward-looking, multi-organization news production demo alongside Reuters, BBC News, Sky News and CNN, featuring live feeds from UK Parliament using the open-source CNAP framework.
That's extraordinary. Multiple competing news organizations collaborating on a single demo, showing how news can be produced and shared in real time with no file transfers or duplicated storage.
Even more intriguing, they'll demonstrate for the first time how TAMS can integrate with Amazon Bedrock and 12 Labs video understanding models to create embeddings of news content in real time. AI is being woven directly into the standards framework.
This represents the logical evolution of what started at IBC 2024, from a technical proof of concept to actual multi-organization collaboration in live news production. The speed of this evolution is remarkable.
SVTA is exploring streaming challenges for NASA's planned 2027 Moon live stream, looking at optimal architectures and codec optimization, not necessarily creating new broadcast standards, but adapting existing streaming technologies for space.
When broadcast standards are being designed for lunar streaming, you know the industry has fundamentally changed. But there's a competitive dynamic here too. As discussed at the networking event, if one of the big tech players wants to, they can ignore the entire world of SMPTE standards and own that content pipeline end to end.
The broadcast industry's response isn't building higher walls. It's collaborating more effectively and responding faster to changing markets. It's an arms race of openness rather than proprietary control.
Which connects to insights from my Berkeley AI Strategy course. Successful transformation requires understanding ecosystem dynamics, not just individual technologies. CNAP and TAMS isn't just a technical specification, it's a platform for industry collaboration.
For consultants and broadcast professionals, this evolution presents both opportunities and challenges. The democratization of broadcast quality workflows means smaller players can compete, but traditional competitive advantages erode faster.
Organizations need to shift from being standards consumers to standards contributors. The cost of participation has plummeted, but the competitive advantage of early involvement has increased dramatically.
It's also about speed. The CNAP timeline, from concept at IBC 2024, evolution at NAB 2025, to multi-organization collaboration at IBC 2025, shows how quickly standards can evolve when developed collaboratively in the open.
But there are governance questions. Sam mentioned at the networking event, there has to be a sustainable solution for who controls these standards long term. The Linux Foundation model for MXL and EBU DMF provides one approach: neutral stewardship with transparent governance.
The alternative is fragmentation. Without proper governance, we could see competing implementations and the interoperability benefits disappear.
Looking ahead, the DVB SVTA collaboration signals something important. Traditional broadcast standards bodies recognizing they need to work with streaming-focused organizations. The boundaries between broadcast and streaming are dissolving.
I will accelerate this. The IBC 2025 demo with real-time AI embeddings shows how AI is being integrated directly into standards frameworks. As workflows become more software-defined, the pace of change increases.
Which brings us back to the fundamental shift from ASPEN in 2015, vendor-driven, committee-approved, relatively static, to CNAP in 2025, community-developed, continuously evolving, radically open, and now AI-enhanced.
It's not just about technology standards, it's about how our industry organises itself to innovate. The most successful organisations will be those that contribute to standards development, not just consume the results.
From ASPEN to CNAP, we've witnessed a transformation in how broadcast standards emerge and evolve. The BBC's decision to open source TAMS, AWS's industry-wide collaboration commitment, and the shift toward organisations like SVTA represent more than technical progress.
They represent a new philosophy of industry development. Participation over gatekeeping, community over committee, continuous evolution over periodic revision. And now, AI integration happening in real time rather than as an afterthought.
The question for every broadcast professional isn't whether this shift will continue. It will. The question is how quickly you can move from standards consumer to standards contributor.
Because in this new landscape, participation isn't just about staying current, it's about helping shape the future of our industry.
Thanks for listening to Broadcast Media, The Inside Track. I'm Ben.
And I'm DAIvid. If you're working on standards initiatives or have insights on broadcast collaboration evolution, we'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, remember, in broadcast media, the most interesting developments often happen not in the technology itself, but in how we organise ourselves to create it.
Thanks for listening to Reinventing Broadcast. Subscribe for more on AI content and the future of media. And visit ancast.tv for more info on Ben himself, the resources, other content, and news.